still hanging around here for, well, actually it looks like IG will have B1 here on the first selection.
Yeah, so we're going to get a B1. That probably means that W wants the last pick. Maybe it's for a last pick support, but it's pretty weird in this meta. So I would doubt that it's Cube saying, yo, guys, give me last pick. So
maybe
it is pretty interesting. Maybe they want to draft their bot lane on 1-2. And maybe they just want some kind of, maybe they just prefer drafting in that order.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, this has been what it is, right? The one bad part about first selection is usually it's hard to go for bottom lane, so you default to jungle. We saw it for W last game. They first selected Pantheon. They saw Ash Seraphine turn on them. So now we have, the shoe on the other foot. It's Jwei that says, all right, I want the Xin Zhao, one of the premier junglers, left back up. What is that going to leave, fools? Looking more and more so like a Yunara Lulu.
Yeah, it should pretty almost always be a Yunara Lulu here. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they do go for... I mean, I just don't think there's like any champion who you want to take here more than Yunara, because I don't know. I mean, Ambessa's a strong champion overall, but I don't know. It just feels weird. Like I feel like Ambessa's not quite that OP blind pick that some of those other champions who we saw in the ban phase are, such as Rumble and Orianna. So. But this is nice because it can definitely give you some flexibility.
True.
Though I would not be surprised to see a Renekton slam here.
Okay, well,
or that.
I don't hate holding off the Yunara until the next pick here, right? So you can go for something you want, because you're not getting the Yunara denied. We are going to end up with the bottom lane matchup. I thought a very common bottom lane matchup is, Jachi and Mako are like, yeah, we'll play the Corki Nami. So now we have basically all of those premier duos, thanks to the fact we had an Ezreal in game 1 to take away Ezreal Karma. All of our, stock standard bottom lane duos are out and about in this series. We'll get the Corki Nami, Yunara, Lulu matchup. But I'm glad you brought up the flexibility of this Ambessa, right? Because technically we could see Cube or maybe even Monki pilot this one as the draft goes on.
Yeah, so it's interesting because there are some champions who kind of counter Ambessa outright in the laning phase, but you don't really mind so much. I want to give a shout out to one of my friends, Ninky, streamer. He's like rank 15 right now, like 2,500 LP. People thought it was just a Gwen OTP, but no, he suddenly became like unironically like the best Ambessa on NA somehow, like just as good as like Shaden or whoever else you would bring into that question. But we learned that Ambessa is, he would say something similar to me about with the Zero. Like, it's just the apex character. It's just so effective, so good. You want to draft it at all times. And in the jungle, you don't have to worry about champions like Renekton or Camille, where theoretically, like, you just never win trades against them for the entirety of the game. It can become really difficult. But if you're the jungler, you don't have to interact with them constantly like that. You can just kind of pick them off with a quick ulti and layering from your teammates. You don't have to worry about this kind of 1v1 dueling dynamic. But they didn't opt to ban any of those top lane champs, so I feel like you kind of got to take this Ambessa jungle. You do have the last pick though, so you're going to get to save that to the end, which means you should be picking mid here on 4.
All right, that's what we'll likely see. IG with their bans are saying, you know what, we think Cubes is going with this Ambessa, so we'll ban the Skarner, we'll ban the Vi away from Monki, kind of trying to shoehorn this Ambessa into that jungle role. The Annie going to come through here for Karis, so WE now playing what I would say the stronger Death Ball team fight comp, the way they're composing with the scaling of Yunara, the team fight of the Annie. And if a Renekton comes through here for Breeze, I just feel like if this gets locked in, Foles, it's too risky to send the Ambessa top at this point.
Yeah, at this point, hypothetically, you always send the Ambessa jungle, so that would be their intention there with the Renekton pick. Now
you can do whatever you want.
Take Ambessa top lane.
Maybe that was their strat.
Completely counter Sion.
Maybe that was their strat, right? We're going to ban away Monki, champions we don't want to see Monki play because we want this Ambessa to go top. And now Monkey's pool is picked. So they're kind of just trying to put the the captain, in a tough spot here for WE.
I mean, low-key, that's a method. You literally say, like, yo, Monkey, you got nothing else, man. That's what you say. You say, like, whatever you got next is so much worse than everything else that we're just going to win if you draft a jungler here. So that's an interesting and a pretty bold take from IG. They take the Victor Slam. I really like this Victor champion, by the way.
Easy front line.
It can be really awkward picking him sometimes because, for example, if they have Orion and Nocturne, you just kind of can't really play the game whatsoever at all.
True.
Or if they have a Kali kind of, or these kind of champs, it can be really tricky. But if you're getting Victor in a draft like this, you just get to beam people all game from this outranging position. It's really nice.
Okay, though, but hey, so they were daring Monki to you know, send the Ambessa top for Cube, but I kind of like the trade-off. Trundle up against the Scion, that is a 10 out of 10 subjugate target right there, Foles.
Yeah, if anything, I think WE, and also because I'm familiar that Monki is pretty decent at this champion, I think WE just completely finished, they won the draft with the finishing pick there. I think that was a really, really good pick because I almost wonder if IG didn't account for this. I mean, I might be off my rocker, but I really think that this is really, really good for WE because Ambessa wins out versus Scion all game. You get to have one of this Apex champion who's kind of uninhibited in the lane, which is really convenient. Then you have this Trundle who's able to duel the Zinzao, one of the strongest duelers in the game right now. So he's probably going to be able to at least keep up in the early game, especially in the mid and late game. He's going to be offering quite a lot in terms of reducing Zinzao's stats, his AD, maybe even his armor and MR could be really nice. And then the Scion as well really gets thematically countered by Trundle. You know about how much resistance he steals, not to mention you can just plonk the pillar right in front of the Scion ulti, really remove that engage option. The one thing I don't like as much is the Annie blind pick. I'm not the biggest fan of the Annie overall, but it fits the Deathball comp pretty well, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, hey, I think for this WE comp to work, I do think they really need to find flank angles because, yeah, the subjugate onto Scion is very good, but you've got such a front line with IG behind this Victor. We'll have to see. We're on to the Rift here. Game 2. Can WE get their first win to split 2? They need their Jwei to get them pumped up first. And there they are. Crowd still energized. You love to see it. As we get the minions crashing on in here. And already some early trades here from Renard. Gonna likely not see a lot of noise from the mid lane here. The bottom lane, gonna be a different story. As both supports forced to trade heal for the speed up alone. Both squads trying to jockey for position on this first wave. And, well, Foles, in this sort of matchup we've seen so many times, the more pressure about in our Hawk can get early, the better, because this is the weakest point for the Yunara Lulu of our game.
Yeah, the story of this draft is definitely that both teams got their hands on the bot lane pairings of the meta. You know, we got the Corki Nami, we got the Yunara Lulu. I'm actually not sure on the specifics of who's winning this matchup at what points. As far as I know, it's pretty even, but they're both extremely strong. So if anything, as the other players, as Renard, as Karis, you're kind of scared in the middle game when those champions are stacked up together. You know, you're just playing on your mid wave as Karis. Next thing you know, Corki Nami shows up with a Triforce and you just get completely one shot. Could be the same kind of story as Renard. So I think these champions will go toe to toe down there pretty well, and they're gonna be able to carry the game, which is beautiful because I wanted to see About have carry potential.
Definitely slotted for that in this game. But you talked about in draft, we saw a bit of him training early. So is Cube on this Ambessa in a positive lane matchup of his own. Just want to take a moment as we see both our junglers mirroring their clears, so they'll stay away from each other. Talk about the fact that Cube as a player has been, kind of shoehorned into only being able to play a few champions reliably, and not a lot of them are in the style of this Ambessa. So this is a pretty big test up against a player of Breathe's caliber, to try and show, hey, I can put the carry pants on, I can play these Ambessas, you can rely on me to do so, Team WE. Because in the past, all they felt reliable on him for was stuff like the Scion, stuff like the Rumble, and etc. Fools.
And I've actually been trained to look out for what a good Ambessa looks like, so I'll definitely let you know what I think. There's definitely some tricky things you can do when it comes to pressing S in the middle of your ult or pressing QE, and using less dashes than you need. But here we go, Monki does have a 10-second window before Jwei gets here.
All right, here they go. Going after Jachi. Aggro's going to be taking the polymorph, comes down. Good barrier from Jwei. Decent healing coming across. Arha, perfect time flash, though. Drops the aggro, gets himself out, and that's a stock standard start you want for Team WE. First blood into About's hands as well. It's Monki's early game going a lot better than last time.
Really well played from Arha there to tank the tower. And he's set up About perfectly to carry this game now. That's a 500 gold lead.
Okay, gonna lose out on this bot scuttle, though. Monki does get pushed off thanks to some Renard pressure, so it's going to be blood on, Jwei dropping gold onto About there, but it's the double crab here for Jwei, so classic jungler sacrifice for an early gank. It'll lose a bit of gold in that aspect, but still a 500 gold lead for Team WE, and About going to come back to lane. I like it. Just going for the Cole here. It's a really good item on especially Yunara as well, how she interacts with waves and wants to play these waves. So just going to lean even further into scaling and completely dwarfing the power he can have in this game compared to this Jwei Corki.
I mean, it's super good start for WE to get this gold onto About. But it is quite interesting that Jwei does still have his flash, Mako does still have his sums. That would mean that, you know, with these inventories, you know, I mean, About has a bit more AD, a bit more attack speed maybe, but this is not a foregone conclusion in the bot lane at all. Jwei and Mako can definitely punch their way back into this one. So looks like they're even getting themselves a bit of prio on this current sequence. We'll see how things continue to transpire down there.
Glad you pointed out the flashes, yeah, because About having to flash as well with the turret targeting him really did hanker how much power they can have in the lane with this lead. Q, but for the time being, holding on to... All right, I was going to say he had the ultimate advantage. I was wondering if he was going to full send it, try and hit a public execution there, but Breathe is holding his own pretty well. I want to point out that once he catches one of these incoming waves, he should be able to stay pretty on top of the CS, and every moment the Sion just gets to Soul Furnace scale fulls and doesn't really give over a huge gap in the gold is a win here.
Yeah, I've definitely seen games where Sion is just able to be completely unkillable against champions like Annie. The good news is that WE has 3 good champs for melting Sion in Ambessa, Trundle, and Yunara, so that's really going to help. But yeah, as Cube here, you're probably not going to get a big gold or XP lead of any kind, but if you just go even at minute 20, you're just really effective. We'll see IG try entering this river.
I think it's a little too late. Monki and company have this dragon low enough. The pillar ways. He can try flashing over for another steal. He does it again, just like game 1. And now he gets level 6. He drops the Crescent Guard. They do just turn on to Mako and blow up the Nami. But Jwei gets to walk out himself. He trades his support for that first dragon. About trying to chase down Jwei with that Lethal Temple fully stacked up, but he won't able to find that. Deja vu here, fools. Are we in game 1 again? IG throwing caution to the wind, trading a life for a first Drake take.
Yeah, I was just about to call on the deja vu from Jwei here, but I'm starting to have a bit of a theory. We'll have to look back at game 1 as to what happened, but right there, Jwei does have the empowered smite. He's got the 1k smite compared to the 600, so it makes all the sense in the world to go for that play. I'm not sure if that was the case in the previous game too, but either way, really well played by Jwei to identify that and to capitalize on it. And fortunately for WE, you're able to get some gold.
Oh, good bubble. That veteran sense, right? This brush shouldn't be safe. And now Monki's trying to lead out with a subjugate trade of his own with level 6 available. Does have the backing of his bottom lane, but About is out of mana. Jwei has very low mana as well. Basically spends all of it to get some decent poke down. Renard coming on over. Mako going to flash for a bubble that does find nobody. Good look, but not going to find the mark, and everybody walks away a little more bruised, but no deaths. Just some, cortisol spiking on some reset timers.
Yeah, that's how it is, but Jwei completely, he knows exactly what he's doing. He W's in just at the frame where he gets the 1k, levels up to off of the capitalization of this smite lead, and he's able to walk it out. Unfortunately, Mako oversteps, does get killed there. Kind of misplayed the past couple sequences from Mako here. Dying there was a bit, unwanted. Same goes for the flash bubble, but that's okay. You saw that IG is completely ready to collapse on the drop of a hat to make anything happen for this bot lane. They really want to play around this. Both teams do, so it's convenient for WE that so far so good down there. In terms of the gold, again, killing Mako is really, really nice, but the Drake is well played to Jwei. He's definitely keeping this game alive, just like the last one.
But it's Monki now on to the Grubs next. To be able to try and take down a lot of these. Mid laner is looking for trades. Renard recognizing Karis used his ult. He's probably onto his ult a little bit, so pushes him out of lane, and now Monki does get pushed off the Grubs after taking 2. Engaged with the Wind Becomes Lightning Way, looking for the knockups, going to snag it onto Cube, has to flash out himself. Holding the public execution, he's now going to use it. Crescent Guard comes down, but Breathe is expertly separating Cube away from Monki, and the decimating smash finds the kill onto the Scion. Grubs coming at cost here for Team WE.
Yeah, they're able to capitalize on the top river play there. They definitely had all the units converging. There was really nowhere out there for Trundle. Only getting 1 grub does kind of sting as well. And I hate to say it, but I mean, I would have probably done the same sort of mistake, but I did look like Cube did not really pass the Ambessa test that I have been kind of laying out for this particular game.
First quiz fail is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of a pop quiz there from Breathe and Way. And
here, Foles.
Needs to do his homework. Ulti up for Monki.
Are they going to go after him? Breathe is holding space. He realized this TP is not good, so now he ults the shortest Scion distance I've ever seen to get to the Blast Cone, and now will get himself out thanks to the Gravitum Well there from his Victor. Breathe really playing on the edge of his health bars, getting canceled out, decimating smash. Seemed like Renard and Wei wanted out, and Breathe didn't, so a little bit of miscommunication on that extended play is about Transcends here. Forces Jwei to Valkyrie, disrespecting the Yunar ultimate. Chaos all over the Rift right now. Karis, you can't walk through to your mid lane like that. All right. I think we're good, Foles, for at least the time being. Give you a little bit of space.
He gets the escort from his support. Sometimes you just have sequences where supports or junglers just have to hover mid for what feels like eternity. But we'll see how long this Nami sticks around for. I would say overall that definitely has some implications. It looked like quite a big nothing burger at first glance, but I think Breathe having to spend all of his turn just using all of his HP to even get back to the top lane. I'm genuinely quite shocked that he still has a 300 gold lead after that. I think Cube must have, who knows? He must have really not had a good other turns, you know? Like I think that turn might have been good for Cube, but his other turns weren't so good, and so you don't really get to see it materialize in the scoreboard.
Hey, you know what? Cube off of that whatever Breathe TP gets a free plate of his own. Gonna get his back canceled though, as Breathe will keep him in lane. I think that's a pretty big win because Cube would have gotten a decently nice reset off of there, but now has to stick around with the Scion and farm his way through. Do think the quiet aspect of this mid lane has benefited Renard again somewhat, despite the fact that Karis gets that early kill. Renard's scaling decently fine. Focus though, Foles is gonna go on to the second Drake, especially if IG can set up that win con of a Drake stack. Their Death Brush though doesn't look like it'll work for now.
Yeah, we still have Cube sitting on the components to Breathe Sunfire Cape. He wants to keep the map like this. I don't think he's going to ult down for the Drake by any means, so we should have a 3v3 or 4v4 here. I know WE's mid jungle wants to fight this, but it's just that IG is controlling the space so effectively. How can you get in as WE here?
You definitely have to find the wards first. As, oh my god, empowered rocket into a phosphorus bomb. Arha down about half HP. Bubble gonna snipe onto the Yunara as well as bam, Wei goes in here. Crescent Guard knocks everybody away. He wants Monki's number, and boys, he got it and more. Wei finds the kill onto the WE jungler, and now they have no way to try and contest this second Drake.
It's just so difficult to access that space as WE's comp there when IG has all the wards, all the setup. They got their CC ready. They're trading ready. You saw how much damage the Corki Nami does. We've been seeing these Chaos Storms come out from Renard on repeat. It feels like these mid laners are just trading cooldown for cooldown, trying to keep the map in their favor, trying to generate as much prio as they can, because as expected, it seems a lot of the story of this game has to do with the bot laners, and Jwei getting the better end of that one.
Still up about 1,000 gold, but Wei did such a good job in that last little sequence of using the Crescent Guard knockaway to get rid of that Yunara that also, you know, Foles, these small things building up. We saw that short trade with About and Jwei early on with the Transcend coming through for that Yunara. I'm not realizing About didn't have the ult that really makes Yunara that true champion in that little fight. So those little things that really can stack up and hurt a team like WE, who again are just so desperate to get on the board with a game win here in Split 2.
Yeah, no wonder, because it seemed like their characters were pretty strong there, but they just weren't able to use them, and that's got to be why the Transcend 1 sub being unavailable. The good news is, About did just proc his Cull on the previous turn and did just spend it into a Zeal as well. So not only is that a 1200 gold lead, that's a itemized 1200 gold lead as well. That's already in his inventory, and Corki not even sitting on a pair of sacks on his feet here, so he's a bit slow. He's not quite as rich as About, so this could matter if some combat takes place.
Whenever you draft a Yunar Lulu comp, so much of the importance of your game plan has to be around this champion. As Renard paying a visit towards bot side here. Thought he might have an extended trade there with About, as we do see the lanes start to swap up here. Quests are completed for everybody but Monki on the map, so new lane assignments start to come out here across both sides.
And somehow, Cube and Breathe are still playing from like 2 turns ago when Breathe interrupted Cube's recall and Cube never got to finish his Eclipse. So they're still going blow for blow up there. And at this stage of the game, when the top laners complete their quests, that's definitely the most important as far as the macro goes, is those top quests. Because once you have to start worrying about somebody like a Juggernaut TPing in to a fight like this, maybe could be scary.
Oh, Pillar. Good placement there. Wei's a bit trapped. Arha behind. The Crescent Guard, it just buys so much space for Wei. He doesn't take any of this damage. TP's coming in here. Wild Growth used onto Monki as his Subjugate times out. Both top laners TP in. Poly Execution doesn't hit, but you know what does? Karis is huge tip result, but it doesn't have enough juice to make any sort of smoothie out of Jachi. He gets out of dodge. We do lose Wei, but this fight looks really wonky for WE with members on all sides. Karis is all the way up in the IG jungle, but nobody on Invictus Gaming really can threaten now. Cube is going to be able to walk himself out somehow with all those TPs, all the Chaos Fulls. It's a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I bring it up, they immediately make use of it because it's just so effective. Once you have this 30% HP shield that you can just come group with your team, it's obviously you want to do that as soon as you can, just both teams making sure to do so at the same time so that there is no mismatch of the numbers or uneven power level here. Honestly, it's hard to know who benefits more from this play, but it looks really good for WE overall. It could have been way better here. Unfortunately, everybody's living up here, by the way. Only one dying is Karis, I believe. But Cube here, unfortunately, had to burn the flash to kill Wei there because they traded autos that would have killed Wei, but Wei procs Sundered Sky on that attack, so the extra HP forces Cube's flash, and Monki
Monki is... Yeah, no flash. Is trying to wait for that Subjugate to come back up.
I was looking.
Hey.
I was like, is that up? I couldn't tell. Yeah.
Yeah, not up just yet, but now it is. So maybe feeling a little more brash about going for that Herald. He does push IG off of that Herald take. We're still waiting for WE to secure themselves an objective of their own. Pillar going to displace Wei and put him right in line for Timbers and About. Beautiful timing. Dashes over Transcendent and knocks down Wei. Crescent Guard couldn't be used thanks to the stuns, and now we're back to WE picking off a jungler and earning themselves an objective off of it.
Yep, see, this is the kind of thing that can have really big, favorable implications for the rest of the match. And it's just it's such a big deal because there was no need for Wei to have to die there, but you can't even really fault him. It's just what the comp does as WE there. You've got an Annie who's able to have so much pick potential. Even if you have Merc Treads, Sundered Sky, and you're literally a Xin Zhao who could Crescent Guard as soon as possible, you just don't get to. You get completely blown up there. About ulting straight in, killing him real quick with the Kraken Slayer. Now he's got the Fiend Hunter bolts as well. If they go for another look like that, he's just going to completely one-shot them with those critical strikes.
Yeah, those first 3 shots, disgusting. Why Yunar is at such a potent spot in the meta with this new addition item. We saw in that last extended fight towards the bot side, though, well, the main man, Breathe, who is ulting in right now, hold the front line, and this time he's using the front line aggressively. It's the ult onto About. No Wild Growth, nothing could save him from the decimation of Breathe. And without About, it's a tricky mid lane for WE to try and hold, as Karis also getting pushed back to his tier 1 turret. IG scooping up a whole lot of gold here.
Wow, just one Sion ult is all it takes to completely break the game open. I feel like at some point you gotta give a dragon. I've seen them fight dragons all series. I know this one doesn't feel great. It is a soul point that you would be giving over, but yeah, Eventually, even if it's the LPL, at some point you gotta realize you can't contest everything. So they give the third Drake. Definitely gonna mean that in 5 minutes time, an absolute banger will ensue.
Yeah, especially the time on the clock they get that done, Foles, right? We get that Cloud Soul you're talking about, this big climactic point of the game. It's going to be at like 23 and a half minutes, so really early on. W's response, though, is going to be the Herald into the mid lane here, but do they have enough to knock down this turret without the minion wave? No. So they don't even convert a turret into gold, and even once they do knock down this mid-tier 1 finally, Renard gets all this solo time on the top side, picks up a tier 1 turret of his own. It's WE. It just feels like they're a bit slower to all these plays, but finally, it's a big nuke from About and Karis as they get rid of Mako. Support needs a lot of ults, though. You have Breathe TPing in with that huge shield. Gravity Field comes down to try and get Subjugated Monki off of their frontline tank. They'll be able to walk everybody else out here. Still a man advantage for IG, or for WE, but IG can't make anything else happen.
Yep, there we go. Definitely a net positive play for WE. Sometimes it's just so hard to tell, like, which team is getting the last laugh from some of these plays. I'm pretty sure WE is happy about that. I mean, they did get that kill. They did get the mid tower. As Mako here, you really want to get that Mikhail's in your inventory ASAP. If anything, these Tibbers usages from Karis have really been keeping WE in this game. Think about it. I would think all 3 of his kill participations were really, really big plays.
So 1,000 gold, W able to hold on to, but the value of these neutral objectives really making this game feel scarily even. And Foles, I want to pick your high elo, high IQ brain on this. How are we feeling about the Cloud Soul, right? It's such a interesting soul that's been debated for so long, but in this game state, how do you feel about that as a win con for IG?
Okay, so there's always been an interesting take I've had about Cloud Soul, which is actually, if you're taking a super, super early soul, like exactly as you said, 23 minutes 30, that is extremely early, Slayer. So the thing with Cloud Soul is it doesn't outright win you the game yet. It usually takes a while because you need some items in your inventory. You need to be a little bit stronger because you're really OP. You get all this movement speed.
Jwei, I mean, like, you just get run down from About, Arc of Ruin. That pillar placement from Monki is pristine. Only way About gets that kill. Jwei punished with Baron up now. Do WE just go all gas, no brakes towards it?
I definitely think you click this Baron, and I definitely think you force IG to click to stop you here. But this is exactly what I mean. You do not want to be on sole point here without the gold lead with comps like this.
All right, the Baron take coming. Unstoppable onslaught forward. Karis going to flash out. WE pull off the Drake to try and burn through Monkey's health bar, but Wei goes in to cover with the Crescent Guard of Renard's. Chaos Storm picks up the first kill, flashing forward. He gets hit by a public execution. Renard goes too far, and Cube punishes it. No more damage left for IG's comp. They're relying on Wei, but if Mako's hidden bubbles, they can make magic happen. Cube on the front line having to flash away from Breeze. Decimating smash that still lands home. No way to carry, no mid laner, no problem for IG as they force WE off the Baron, and now they've got Arha entrapped to find a 4th final kill on the team fight win.
Yeah, this is really problematic for WE. You bite off way more than you can chew there, and this could really have consequences. Karis has TP, About has a big inventory. Can they possibly contest this or make it on time? I don't even think so. You love to see it from Breathe here. This is just really good heads-up awareness. He gets the top quest shield before ulting in to make sure he has as much disruption as possible. And you can tell with the amount of HP he's living on that it made a huge difference. Unfortunately, About is just far too low to kill everyone here. In theory, Yunara should just be running this fight, be completely untouched, doing 10,000 damage, but he's just a bit too low. If he has like 300 more HP there, I think he just hard wins this, but unfortunately, you can't start that Baron when you chunked out that hard.
Well, then Fool's on top of that, right? 30 seconds before that play goes down, it's about using Yunar ult to find that kill. You talked about the how low he was, but even in that extended trade, we need him to be the tank shredder. Yunar just isn't that threatening of a champion unless she's transcended. She didn't have access to that ult for that entire sequence on the Baron.
Okay, so we have a slight problem. It turns out Breathe did not use his W last play. His W shield is just that big.
Oh, wow, that's even crazier, right? You thought it was the TP shield.
Yeah.
Holy
So now
moly.
this guy, on the bright side, it's a 30-second duration. He did use it a bit early here. That shield is going to subside. WE is going to be able to access this, but it's a really hard fight to play out. About is going to have to kill everyone. I don't know how he's ever going to do this.
They need to be able to subjugate, breathe, and allow this Yunar to go front to back, but it's a hard job. How do they set up a flank? It has to be Karis, but he gets spotted. Dragon down to about 3K. 50-50 looking imminent. Monki going to go in after Jwei as Cube goes onto the back line. They get Monki in to secure the smite. What? No Cloud Soul. Can they win the rest of this fight, though? They're still grouped up as 5. Karis on the flank needs to hit a big Timbers here to make things happen, but he completely flops it. Karis gets cut down, and now we got blinking health bars for Team WE. Flashes come out. Arha tries to create some space. And luckily, WE have their bot tier 1 to make any flanks a little more awkward. But here comes Jwei and Jwei. Look at all the blinking health bars galore. Jwei wants to go forward. Wild Growth will not save Arha. Jwei chops through it. 2 kills are the price for Team WE to shut down a Cloud Soul for the next 5 minutes.
As far as momentum goes and gameplay, I mean, pretty well played to IG, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty nice, but as WE here, you are thanking your lucky stars for this sequence, by the way, because Monki completely keeping their hopes of getting their first win in the LPL Split 2 2026 alive, smiting that Drake. And they've even got an offensive look here as well. Renard, no flash, he's so dead.
Cube doesn't have ult. So yeah, he's just going to have to use those 8 billion dashes to get towards Renard, who does get the speed up. Here comes the rest of IG. Jwei, can he get there in time before Cube drops him? Yes, Renard gets out with a sliver of HP. Nothing can go right for Team WE. Even when they have the correct look, it just doesn't fall in their favor. And a free pick on Renard turns into 2 kills into the pocket of Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, that Victor doesn't even have Lucid Boots or Swiftness Boots. Those 2 would at least make him faster to escape from that. That was nothing but a Victor Q evolve, just running that off, shrugging off the entirety of Cube's look there. It looks so promising, but I guess Victor, his shielding, his movement speed is just far too much, and that's going to be really, really costly. Because you can imagine, had that gone well, you'd be looking at a pretty even gold state right now, but now the gold lead starts to run away here for IG.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to play the cross map, but it's what, a tier 1 top lane turret for not even just looking like 2 turrets on the bot side. It's 2 tier 2 turrets. Renard and Mako knocked down this tier 2 in the mid lane as well. I mean, the gold influx they got right there without the Baron basically matches the Baron power play. But WE, they're keeping the pedal to the metal here, looking for more.
Yes, Sion definitely going to threaten them here. They're going to have to fully retreat this one because they could just get chased until the edge of the earth here. No objectives coming up, so if you get these recalls off, you got a pretty playable map to have your way with it. You can deploy your characters any way you want. There's definite winnability here for WE, especially off of the back of About. And it's exactly what I was asking for. We just get to see if About is able to clutch and to carry this team.
He's at those 3 items, right? Has the heal cut as well, some value into the Nami. I want to talk about some of these itemizations with you fools and see how you feel about some of these little different iterations as we have some time. I'm really liking the Serpent's Fame look here for Jwei, even if it does take away some of his top-end damage.
Yeah, I was thinking that IG's comp really needs a Serpent's Fang, but I didn't quite match it to the Corki. I was thinking that like it's too bad that they are not the ones with the Ambessa, so you can get a really efficient Serpents, but I would not be surprised if somebody oversteps here.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Where did About go? He transcended and got deleted by what I assume to be a Death Ray from Renard. And without About, Foles, WE have no team fight left.
Oh no, I'm getting PTSD. I've seen this before. It's when there's a Scion who's this unkillable and the enemy comp has Annie Yunar. I've literally seen this in the NACL, and unfortunately, the Annie is never killing the Scion, and if the Yunar is dead, he's not gonna die at all.
No. I mean, this is... What credit we need to give Breeze for this game. I mean, you called it. This draft is perfect to shut down a Scion, but he has just defied the odds of a Trundle, of an Ambessa, of a Yunara behind that subjugate of the Trundle. This is what I was a little bit worried about, Foles. We talked about in laning phase. Cube is just not a player that we feel can reliably play Ambessa, even in positive matchups. This was a draft, right, Foles, that by all regards, we should have had a pretty fed Mbessa coming into fights.
Yeah, Cube absolutely had some pretty good looks, some pretty good opportunities to win this game or to set it. Like Mbessa, the champion here, definitely had some opportunities. Unfortunately, Cube, the player, just wasn't really able to make them count. And we can really see the price that has on the game with just how OP this Scion is comparatively. Across the board, IG is just so much stronger. And I was going to say, taking Cloud Soul early, such as minute 23, can be bad. Minute 28,
still pretty good.
You're golden.
Yep. And they have all the control of that bottom river, but I'm glad, thanks to our observers toggling it, Karis is committing to a deep operation here with this flank, trying to come around to get onto Renard, but Renard himself is going to spot him, drops the Chaos Storm, everything onto this Annie. They can't get into the fight, so IG have a 4v4 in their hands, but Breathe is getting chunked pretty low, chased down by Monki and Cube. Breathe has to flash away. Renard trying to chase Karis down. Good flash gets him out of dodge, but this means the Dragon opens up for free over to IG. Monki wanted to chase the kill, and boy, is he going deep to try and find it. The Cloud Soul doesn't get Renard out, but with the rest of the team holding onto a Cloud Soul, they get to pick off the slim members of WE that are left up. Jwei gets himself a double. Breathe might find himself a third. He cancels the back of Karis. The stun won't save him. The Soul Furnace shield sets up a third kill. And guess what's right on the menu here, Foles, after that Cloud Soul? Baron's up, but a base is being invaded. Supers are hitting the Nexus turn. IG might just end the series here.
You've got a Cloud Soul, you've got a lot of movement speed, a lot of stats, a lot of gold, a lot of everything. You got momentum, you got aura as IG right now, running straight down the enemy team's base. There's just no way these respawns are going to make it on time. About had what was a really great lead and a chance to win this game. He gets caught in the previous play. They can't win the next play. The game itself is just falling and crumbling apart. And at the end of the day, IG today, tonight, perhaps for the rest of the split, is the superior team.
There it is. The IG 2-0 comes through. Team WE fall to 0-8 in games and 0-4 in Group Ascend so far here. That game, you know, once again, it felt decently similar to Game 1, Foles, in the sense that, you know, WE get themselves a marketed gold lead going into, like, the mid-game phase, but IG just seemed like such a unit of a team once we get past 20 minutes.
Yeah, when it comes to like watching competitive league, particularly when it comes to the LPL, I don't know how to explain it, but you can tell what really separates the best teams in the world from those just good teams, those great teams, is like, for example, like T1, Gen G, BLG. When something's going wrong, okay, I got a pretty good analogy from my coach a few weeks or months back. He said that eventually you reach a certain point where even when things are going wrong, you're still in control because you know exactly what to do next. Even though you made a mistake and things are going awry, you still have such a good mind and vision of the game that you know what to go for next, what to do next. And as a team, you can tell when they have that kind of hive mind and they're able to create something out of nothing or able to use the leads they have and make the game completely insufferable and just to suffocate the enemy team. Like you know how to win from ahead and how to not lose from behind. And unfortunately, as WE, you don't even know how to win from ahead. You know, IG is literally making crazy mistakes that is just unheard of in the previous, for example, Game 1. And as WE, you still don't have the wherewithal and the experience to capitalize on that yet. You're in this Group Ascent, you're not going to get that low-hanging fruit opportunity that IG was giving you against some of those other teams. So at least they got to feel what that's like to have some time in the driver's seat of the game. But I promise you, when this team plays against the likes of BLG, they might not even get to drive the game for a single frame.
I like that analogy. I like it of a complete team. It's easy to win from ahead, but how can you find a way to not lose from behind? I like that. That's definitely what we saw from IG at multiple points in this game. Once we get to those post-game stats rolling, you'll see the gold lead was not all blue for IG. There was points where they went down a bit, but I don't know. I think this team, I really want to give them praise, right, Foles? Because this was a team in the mini offseason that, regardless of what happened in mid lane, they added 3 new players. Then they have, Renard stepping in for rookie, which, is a huge ask for a Group Ascend team to come in with 4 new members and, look this good, look this synergized, most importantly, I think is what we really need to tip our cap to through 3 series so far.
Yeah, to be 3-0 with, when you think about it, 5 players who have not played together before. Because, I guess Jwei and Renard technically have some synergy there, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Like, you don't have anything else really there in terms of pre-developed synergy. So, maybe Breed might have encountered them in some kind of stints of his career or solo queue or something. Yeah. But this is not, like, complete and utter synergy. So, to actually be 3-0 in Group Ascend with this roster of players who is just recently put together, this is a really feat to behold.
As we start looking at some of these post-game stats, look, there's that LPL goal graph, right? We were talking about. It's just, WE had this game for almost 20-ish minutes, but IG, they've just been so pristine on the team fighting as well to be able to come out and get this win. I don't know, Foles, I guess we'll start picking your brain. Talk to me about, let's start with player of the game, right? Do you want to give it over to this Giga Scion, or is there another way you're looking at it?
All right, player of the game's tough because, and I can see why what happened in the game when it happened, because the first thing when you think of player of the game, you get drawn straight to the KDA. That's what you think. I'm thinking, like, for example, Mako's KDA looks pretty good, but it can't be him. He was just getting caught by these random tibbers. They were, like, completely selling the game at multiple points, so it can't be him. When it comes to the Giga Scion, it seems like a pretty good choice, so I could very well see that being the choice here, but it doesn't necessarily seem like he did anything too flashy or carrying the game that hard. Could it just be Jwei for the fact that he's doing the same thing again? He just flashes in to the pit on the first Drake, steals it again, like he's literally a robot programmed to make sure that WE doesn't get what they want. Like, it's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. It's I would really say this is a team effort. They did really well this game. Even Renard, when they did make some looks on him in this game, he was able to survive those and evade those. And yeah, this is a solid team. I honestly think that they could definitely take games off of JDG or some of the higher end teams in the league. I don't want to say BLG just yet. That's a lot.
But like AL you can cook. AL's at a huge struggling point so far through this year. They're in chaos. JDG's a high bar. Top esports, I think, would be a very fun matchup. I'm glad you brought up comparing who IG could maybe beat, because it's important to remember. I want to pump the brakes a little bit on this IG hype. They have now, by this point, they do have that top esports series win that is big, but their other 2 series wins are against the 2 newly promoted Group Ascend teams, which is NIP and now WE. So I still, want to rein us in a bit here, right, Foles? If they can take down one of those top 3 we're thinking about, maybe a Weibo 2, then we can start getting super hyped for IG. We haven't had them tested by the best of the Group Ascend has to offer, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be the next question when it comes to watching IG here, is that they're able to clear out the lower kind of half of this Group Ascend here. How are they going to stack up against that upper half? Because that upper half is an extreme challenge for anybody trying to, get a good record in the LPL. If you're in Group Ascend, it is really hard, as WE is demonstrating, to get even one win on the board, sitting at 0-8 in match score right now, or game score, and it's going to be extremely tricky. I'm going to get the chance to cast them in their next game, I do believe. So I'm going to try to see if WE can at least get something on the board here in this Group Ascend, because if anything, I think LNG would have been a great fit to make their way up. Unfortunately, there isn't a direct path from the very bottom of the LPL to the very top, but the LNG speedrun is taking place, and WE, I don't want to sing their demise or anything like that, but unfortunately, based on what I saw tonight, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of it might have to do with this Pantheon 20-second Krugbush thing. This team,
it's where the downfall started tonight.
They do not necessarily belong in this Group Ascend just yet. That's my take, yo. I don't know if this is going to be probably not a very hot take, but I want to see them change my mind challenge. All
right, well, we'll have to see for Team WE. LNG was an interesting one to bring up. The only way they can get back up here is for split 3, right? So WE
Yeah.
are going to be locked into Group Ascend. They aren't the only team
For
without
better
a
or for
series
worse.
win so far. Yeah, right. They aren't the only team without a series win so far in Group Ascend. That is still Weibo is with them there, but they have now double the series played, I believe, as Weibo as we currently sit. So not gonna remain. They're gonna get to being alone at the bottom pretty shortly here, waiting on that last MVP. Or I've been a bit. Thank you, Icefire producer, reminding me. I've been out of the game a little bit too long, so we won't get to see the player of the game. But Foles, the last question I'll ask you before we get off of here from this first series MVP. Do you feel more comfortable giving that to Jwei across both games, maybe instead of just a player of the game here in the second one?
Yeah, I definitely think it's Jwei, and so that's why they probably made the right choice, keeping him as the focal point of the roster, the one player to persist from split 1 to split 2. And he's been a top hitter in the LPL for quite a while now. Just not really necessarily getting across the finish line all the time, but I've been seeing this guy around for, it feels like, 7 years. Whether it's RNG or BLG or one of these Apex teams, he's at the top, man. This Jwei guy, he is that chess piece to work around. And I lost my train of thought on that one, man. But yeah, it's gonna be Renard for an interview, so we've been told. So he's the other one. Would it be Jwei or would it be Renard?
Okay.
Renard was cooking on the Casio, and he was clutching as the Victor too. I think I can't even really choose, man. This was just a mid jungle masterclass.
That's a good sign. If Foles can't give a series MVP, he wants to give it to 2 different people, that means the team is playing well, and Renard will be a fun story to watch. But our eyes must avert away from IG versus WE. That will wrap up our first series of the day, and myself and Foles' first ever cast together. IG make it a clean 2-0. We're going to go to a break now, but on the other side, a much better matchup in Group Ascend, I hate to say here. Top Esports versus JDG for the first time all year taking place